Welcome to Simply Caroline, a podcast dedicated to women empowerment where we will discuss a bunch of different subjects such as life, parenting, love, business, money, relationships, healing, recovery, addiction, entrepreneurship, and so much more. A podcast I'll do my best to keep simple, fun, and relatable and bring you tools to help you better your life. So thank you for being here. And here's your host, myself, Caroline Blanchard. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for being with us again this week. I have such a powerful and such an interesting woman with me this week, Amy Powers. How are you?
Very well. I wish you were in sunny Southern California with me.
Oh, I wish too. Believe me. I love saying your name. Amy Powers. Like, how does it feel?
I've sort of grown into it. I think I shied away from it for a long time, even though it was right there on the page and in public and every time I said my name. But honestly, I feel like at this stage of my life, I'm finally owning all my powers.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
And you know what? Power can be described in very many different ways. For me, a powerful person is someone who has like a strong impact, someone who's a leader. And I'm not necessarily talking about ranks here. I'm talking about a leader in life who can, lead people towards better things. And you are truly that. So you are part of the book that just launched. 22 Powerful Women in Network Marketing Reveal Their Key to Success. I absolutely loved your chapter. You are a writer at heart. It's clear, but that is also because you have another book that it wasn't your first one with us.
Yes, correct. So actually, I don't know if you know this, but before I wrote my book, which is called No Degree Required, and it's network marketing the Ivy League way, I actually had a number of other careers, including a 25-year career as a songwriter. And then before that, a career as an attorney. So words are really my jam. I love to play with words, and I am a writer. So I'm glad it showed.
So how do you go from lawyer to songwriter? Let's start there, because that's an interesting thing. And I get that, it's related, but how?
Well, it really was, I want to say, a divine act that took me from being very, very left brain, and I would term it really in the male mode of success, to getting in touch with my creativity. So before I was a songwriter, I had gone to Harvard Law School and Columbia Business School, and I was very, very A-type on that track of just whatever I thought success meant at that time. And I had never even tapped into my creativity really, except to amuse myself in classes by writing parody songs.
Okay.
I was bored in classes a lot, and I would write parodies to popular songs, and rhyme was fun for me, etc. But what happened was, when I got to the real world after all these years of school and all those years of debt, I realized quickly that it wasn't for me, and it started to take a toll on my body. Those 80-hour work weeks and the corporate cubicle and the whole thing, it just was not a fit. So much so that it made me physically ill. And so the first time that I got to stop and press pause in my life, it was from an external circumstance, which was chronic fatigue syndrome. That's what happened to me when I started working full-time as a lawyer at a big firm in New York.
So chronic fatigue syndrome is like prolonged burnout, basically.
Yes, profound and prolonged, and it wasn't clear that I would ever get better. I had to take a leave of absence from my company, and I was sleeping 18 hours a day. It was really scary time.
Yeah.
But it was basically the universe hitting me upside the head, saying, what you're doing is not it for you. And that's when I wrote my first song. It was suggested to me as a sort of pastime by the guy I was living with at the time. And I fell in love with it immediately, went into a trance the first time I tried it. And 3 hours later, when I came out of my trance, there was a song on the page.
Wow. So is there a song we know? I know we
Uh,
know.
there might be songs um, depending on what kind of music you listen to. Because I've written for Barbara Streisand, I've written for Broadway, I did all the Barbie movies back in the day. So if you've
I
ever,
watched them all with my daughters,
oh,
unfortunately.
oh, well, if you ever done anything like sing, I'm just like you, you're just like me. Those are my songs. Yeah.
Kind of
So
rings a bell.
yeah. So yeah, it's a crazy thing. But the song that I wrote first, the first one was about being a paralegal. It was
Okay.
about watching the people I knew, right? Never turned out into being the thing, but it was go from where you are, start creatively from where you are, what you know, what you're observing. And that's what happened. But I have had many multi-platinum songs. I've written for pop and country and kid stuff and movies, and it just depends on what genre you're talking about.
Well,
I can
congratulations for all of that, and it's pretty exciting.
do.
That's an industry that always fascinated me, music, since I'm little.
Yeah.
'Cause
However, it's not as glamorous on the inside as it looks on the outside, because creativity is really only one part of it. And then there's that business part. And then there's that crapshoot part about waiting for your songs to be used and you don't have control. And that's how I ended up in network marketing
Mhm.
through the music business. I was introduced to someone in the music business at a time when the economy was completely tanking in the United States. In 2010, it was. So we were all recovering from the big crash of 2008 and nine. And I met somebody in the music. I knew somebody in the music business who I worked with all the time. And she knew someone who had seen the writing on the wall about what was going to happen with music being free. So
Mhm.
in addition to the unpredictable nature of the music business, then we had the internet coming in and saying, "Oh, guess what? All your stuff will be free." So
That
I,
we don't realize how much, I have Apple Music now, and I don't even realize how, it's silly paying $15 a month. I have access to pretty much everything.
it's great for consumers and really awful for creators.
Yeah, I get it. And you're saying 2010. I'm saying that because right now there's people that don't even know that era of,
Oh, right, right. So
we
now
used to pay for every song.
used to pay for every song, and people would go and get albums or CDs or all
Yeah.
whatever medium it was at the time, and then this, and like I said, it was the great leveler in terms of being able to access music. How wonderful for people who are wanting to listen. But for the creators,
Mm.
a lot of people were struggling. And I just didn't like what that looked like for my family. And I had responsibilities, and I was married to someone who was also a freelancer.
Okay.
So I had little kids, and so that's how network marketing was introduced to me by someone in the music business. And a bunch of us on my team are creatives who just don't want to ride that crazy wave.
So that's awesome. And so let's talk a bit about that. There's so many different ways I could go with my questions here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we could talk about health, we could talk about so many different things, but I'll focus on the network marketing for now because
Okay.
you really took your creativity to that as well. And I mean, you went to the very top of your company and you're super successful. Everyone does it differently, although I think there are those 4 to 5 crucial rules, I should say, golden rules that you need to respect to grow a business. But tell us a bit, what was your journey? Because you were not in business before, you were in writing songs, and then before that in law.
Right.
How did transition to going into health and wellness?
Well, it's interesting because being ill when I was a lawyer really gave me a vision of how quickly things could change
Mm,
in life and how important health was. So when I was introduced to this business model and my mentor who was in the music business, I recognized, and this company, this is a one of a kind company because it's a clean products, everyday products company. So when I was introduced to all those things, I realized the brilliance of it. And I knew that nobody was ever going to stop using their daily products, and safer was better, and all this. But I did not, as you say, have any background in this kind of thing. And I had that huge fear of, two things. One is that I was afraid that people in my primary industry at the time, music, where I had invested a lot, were somehow not going to take me seriously as a songwriter anymore.
Mm.
And secondly, which wasn't true, right? But it was just a fear of mine. And the second thing is that I had a abhorrence of sales. I didn't really understand what sales was. I didn't understand that sales was a service-oriented activity. I thought it was some kind of pushy thing. I didn't like salespeople. I did not understand the whole way that you could run a business by offering and recommending and being of genuine service to people. So I had a lot to get over. Oh, plus I was really shy. I was very introverted. I could talk to people one-on-one. Something like this is always fun for me. But the idea of getting up in front of a group of people was, even if it was 2 or 3 or 4 people, was terrifying to me. So I needed a lot of up-leveling, shall we say, personal growth. And what was incredible was that my mentor in this business, who was a major music publisher, was also able to just extend a hand and say, I will help you through whatever you need. And then there was this whole community of people who helped me. They were all with the company. And, that's the beauty of it. You really aren't doing it alone. I was so messed up in my head for such a long time, and yet it didn't stop me from climbing the ladder.
And that's, I like that you said that, because first of all, there's no prerequisite to get into that business. There's no job description that you need to fit. And thank God, because a lot of people would be like, that's not me, that's not me. So people go in and try to adapt. But that's what's really cool, is that you have mentors around you that will help you adapt your business to your style and your company. Like,
Yes.
Every company has their own system. But and what I find funny is, you say I wasn't into sales, but it's, for me, like being a songwriter, that's a lot of, like, you have to, you're selling your words and your talent basically when you're submitting your song. So I would be way more freaked out to do that than to offer whatever product I did not produce.
It's different though, because I thought it was different, because when I was offering something that I had created, that felt like a gift I wanted to share with the world. And I did not make the connection for a number of years between what that was and what network marketing is, because now I feel like it's a gift I want to share with the world, right?
Exactly.
But I was afraid of being judged. I was, I had so much, hey, I'm a lawyer, right? Judges, in their big black robes, they were endemic to my world. And here I was judging myself. And
but I find that so interesting. I'm telling you, I find that so interesting, because for me, it's the opposite. I would feel so judged presenting something I created, because I would feel like it's personal. It's like me that they're judging. It's not anymore something else. And I'm sure a lot of people relate with me, but I guess I haven't been into the creative position. So it was probably a passion of yours. So also, all, click together.
Yes.
But how long did it take you in your business to realize, wow, I'm actually loving this, and it turned into a passion?
So that's a great question. So it wasn't quick. As a matter of fact, I got to the top level of my company in the average time which really pissed me off because I didn't think of myself as an average person, but it took me 5 years to get to the top 1%. And even in that time, there was so much internal drama that I couldn't access the joy on a consistent basis. It was only after that that I really allowed myself to settle in and see, oh, this feels terrific. This feels like something I can really embrace and teach and love to be a part of. It felt more like work before that.
And thank you for being honest here, because, that's one of the things that most of the time we hear. It's like, oh yeah, I started my business, fell in love with the products, fell in love with everything, and then everything was, amazing until I got to the top. But there's a lot of different parts of the stories that we leave on the side.
And actually, a lot of people do start their network marketing businesses products first, and they do fall in love with the products. I did not have that sense at all. What I fell in love with was the business model. I saw the huge potential. I saw how this could be the answer for me and for my family as a business matter. Then I started trying the products. Then, of course, I loved the products. If I didn't really love the products, I couldn't be authentic at all. But what I wasn't in love with for such a long time, yet I forced myself to do anyway, was the process of sharing and of becoming the go-to person for the brand and getting up. And I forced myself to melt through some barriers.
Can you identify what happened for you to switch that process?
Well, to get through the barriers, it's what didn't happen. I didn't give up on my initial vision. I've seen so many people, as soon as something gets challenging, just walk away because they can. And I don't know what life will bring them after, but there was no way I was going to walk away.
Because you're Amy Powers.
No, because I had a vision, and I also knew I didn't have another plan B. I saw this as my answer. I wanted to create a 7-figure willable asset, and not just wanted to. I made it my intention, and I did it. And I didn't care. I didn't take no for an answer from myself. That's what really changed everything, is that I kept not taking no for an answer from myself. Other people told me no on a regular basis, but that wasn't what was important.
That's awesome.
I saw myself.
That's awesome. And where did your book come into this, play into this? Like how, when?
Oh, that's such a great question. And you're a writer, so I know you understand this, that it comes at exactly the right time. So for me,
in the middle of the night, you're just like, oh my goodness, I need to do something.
Actually, it was this. One December 31st, I was in a wonderful place. A wonderful place in Aspen with friends of ours. Nice. And it hit me all of a sudden that I needed to do a sober year, because alcohol and our friendship is rocky. It's fun, but it's like a love-hate relationship. So I decided I was going to do a sober year, and I got very excited about that. Did not drink on New Year's Eve. Woke up the next morning with this idea. I need to write a book about my experiences. And that's what I did. So I did both of those things, and it was amazing. And the crazy thing is that in writing the book, of course, just like in network marketing, I sought help, right? I sought mentorship, and I ended up being coached by an incredible book coach who became one of my best friends. And her name is Kim O'Hara. And it's just so funny how one thing leads to another, because now I have a whole other business that's come out of something that went down between Kim and me, which is that I did what I usually do. I recommended her, just like I recommended network marketing, my brand. I recommended Kim to a fellow national vice president with my company. We were sitting
Mm,
on the beach in Maui on our company trip that we're treated to every January. And she said, I have an idea for a book. And I said, you do? I just got finished writing a book with this fabulous woman. Would you like me to connect you? And she said, yes. They decided that she would write her book with Kim. And then I got a check in the mail, like literal mailbox money from Kim. And I called her up. I said, what's this? And she said, oh, I always give referral fees when
that's
people
good.
connect me with clients. And a huge light bulb went off in my head. Oh, I love to connect people anyway. I do this all the time. I should do this as a business. And
Smart.
that's my next business. Yeah. So now I've taken that much wider. So it's just going from one thing that feels right and good to another.
And through all of this, you still have your network marketing business going strong. It's just that now you're at a place where you do have the time freedom.
Oh, 100%. And what's fascinating is you never know when you're going to need that freedom. Um,
Mm,
yes, that is the ground that I'm standing on now is the network marketing business. However, about a year and a half ago, my mom was suddenly and shockingly diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer.
I'm
And
sorry.
thank you. And I had the privilege of having the business that allowed me to drop everything, go right to her side, be there for the next year plus through everything until she passed in June. And I had a team behind me, but I also knew that no matter what I did or didn't do personally in my business, I could pick it up whenever I wanted to. So I allowed myself all that time to just do what was really most important for me, which was to be with her. And now I get to pick up my business again, personally.
Wow. That's you made me emotional there because it's so true. You know, you're talking about your mom, but it can be anyone, your loved ones, your kids. It's just the
Oh, yes.
opportunity of being able to stop when you have to. But
Yes.
let's make sure to mention there is a lot of work before that. And Amy hasn't been in the business for 4 months. She's been in for years. No, but
12
the
years.
truth is, I think that sometimes like people think network marketing, oh yeah, I'll do that and then I'll work a little bit and then I can coast. And it's, you need to build something pretty
Yes.
solid before you start coasting. And you did it in 5 years and you said, oh, I was just average, but um, it's still very fast to build a 6-figure business in 5 years. Like, think about it. If you open any conventional business,
Yes.
you're most likely going to be in debts for your first 5 years, paying back what it costs you to,
Yes, of course.
start that
Well, oh
business.
my goodness. I just yesterday had someone come over to the house. Um, he's he's nosing around the business and bought some products. Um, he went from a corporate job to being an entrepreneur with a really cool brand of keto friendly desserts. But
Okay.
he's $400,000 so far in the business that he is, endlessly working, and it's not profitable yet.
No, I know someone told
Hard
me,
for me to watch that now
someone
that
told
I'm
me we all dream about like opening the franchise or be like, oh, if I could have a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons, well,
yeah,
it's popular in Canada, or
yeah,
a Dunkin' Donut in the States or whatever, that would be amazing. But basically, when you open these kind of things, you sign a contract saying that for 5 years, you're okay with not making any money and with putting all your personal
yeah,
assets on the line. And basically that you will be your best employee as well.
right.
So you go in knowingly that 5 years you will have like no life just to pay your investment. And people sign on that dot and it makes sense and they feel more secure because they've put their house as a collateral or something. When we tell someone, okay, you know what, buy a kit, it's going to be about $100, it will get you all started and blah blah, they're like, what? you
Right.
know Am I getting played here? Like, what's the catch?
Right. There's
Well,
such
the catch,
suspicion. That's
yeah,
so interesting that you bring that up because I think there's no suspicion in the other model. It might not be a reasonable investment for many people, but they think it's legit and therefore it's
but like
okay.
any business, it can tank and close,
Left and right all the
you
time,
know?
all the time.
Us, I think that the entry requirements are so low that that's where the catch is. Like the
And people
real
think, oh,
catch,
yeah, it's too good to be true.
yeah. And the real catch is that you will have to work,
Sure.
you know?
Or as I like to say, I'm sort of allergic to the phrase hard work, even though
Mhm.
we're all encouraged to say it's work. But I feel like when work is aligned with who you are and what you're here to do, it will feel easeful. It won't feel quote unquote hard, right? And even uh, getting through these barriers, whatever they are, because we'll all come up against them. Like I had a thing with public speaking. I passed out in my own living room in front of 8 people at the
Okay,
beginning of
talk about this, please. Let's pause and tell us a story.
Okay. Okay. So my fear of public speaking probably went back to 5th grade when I forgot a verse of a song in my school play and did cartwheels on the stage instead. It was something bad. So, but it was, I got over it. However, I'm just always been more of a behind the scenes as opposed to behind the mic kind of person. And so I was about 8 or 9 months into my business, and I was so concerned. I was such an ex-perfectionist. I was so concerned with getting every word right, informing everybody of exactly the right thing. I did not understand that this is a business about emotion and trust, right? And if you just come forth as yourself and you're trustworthy, everything's going to be okay. So I got so nervous in presenting, our little business thing in front of 8 people that I literally fell over. And it was not a good look. Luckily, there was somebody else in the room who did not have my fear and was already on my team. And she got up and finished the presentation for me while I managed to be taken upstairs and rest. Right.
I
But
assume that everyone bought something because they felt bad.
I don't even remember. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. But what I remember was thinking that kind of uh, Scarlett O'Hara thing from Gone with the Wind, as God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again. It's like, as God is my witness, I'm never passing out again, whatever I need to do. And then that's the work, right? The work was in me. So eventually, little by little, I got more and more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then suddenly I found myself uh, being asked to do a speech at our company's huge annual Las Vegas.
Like 12,000 people?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And crazily enough, I loved it. I felt like I was floating on air afterwards. But that's the plus. You don't even see that in the checks that you're getting from a company like this. That is the bonus if you allow yourself to take the journey and
Yeah.
don't let yourself quit.
And that's what I tell most people about network marketing, why I am so passionate about it and why I fell in love with the industry. Because a bit like
Yeah.
you, I didn't fall in love with the product
Uh-huh.
and then like went crazy recommending it. I fell
Yeah.
in love with the business model. I fell in love with the fact of like, what? I could get paid for everything that I do.
Right.
Because I was in corporate, like busting my life to basically work more and more and more, and my paycheck was always the same. Sometimes I would
Yes.
get a little bonus. So I
Right.
was
Here we
just
throw
like,
you a bone. Right.
yeah, I was just like, what? I can be rewarded for what I do. So that's why I jumped in. But, 11 years later, what I'm most passionate about is all the self-development that is injected into network marketing. And I don't know all the companies out there, it would be impossible. There's like thousands, but I
Yes.
know quite a few because, I published a few books and not one of them did I hear that there's no personal development that is offered. They all offer training, and it's all about growing yourself and breaking your limiting beliefs, all stuff that everyone would need in everyday life, you
Yes.
know.
Except with this, there's a built-in support system and potential for revenue.
Exactly.
Instead of paying, I know so many people who pay for so many courses in self-development. Here we have the opportunity to get paid when we
Exactly the
complete
same
each
class.
new self-development,
No,
routine ritual.
and you know what? My CEO always used to say, like, it's not how do you say it? It's not how you do the how, it's doing the how that matters. And at first he was saying that, and I was just like, what is he saying? It must be a language barrier. I don't get it, or
Uh-huh.
whatever. But now I get it. I can give you all the information that I have. You can go to every big seminar that there is and pay those, 10 grand a weekend thing. While you're in it, you will have the energy of everyone. But the thing
Yes.
is, like, the minute you walk out of it, you have all the house, but you don't have any more system that supports you to actually apply what you learned. Because otherwise, like, with internet, we have so much information, everyone would be a genius. It's all there,
Yes.
I,
But it really comes down to the fact, I'm
tell them
sorry,
you're busy.
that's my new consultant who I'm so excited about.
Cool.
That was perfect timing. She anyway, it comes down to the fact that here you have people who will help support you.
Mm.
And sometimes it happens that the original person who brought you into the company is not the right person, but there's always somebody up the line or around, who you will relate to. I'm amazed and thrilled at how many people who are my closest friends now have come from my network marketing experience. I'm even my husband and I are even producing a film with it's kind of fantastic with my direct sponsor, my mentor, and one of my direct teammates. We are creating a film based on the life story of one of the speakers that we saw at our global training conference a few years.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
if you need an actress, my dream has always been to be an actress.
Well, baby, you just send me your reel. That's what I tell everybody.
I don't have reels. I wouldn't even know what to say. So, but if you feel like I could fit the part, maybe I can arrange my
We'll have
schedule
to
also.
see. You never know. You never
Yeah, no, funny. So let's talk a bit about your business about connection, because I want to understand how that works. Because I think
Okay.
it's genius, and I think that if I think about what I do on a daily basis, it's all people connecting me to some other people, especially since the pandemic,
Yes.
because I know people from around the world, and sometimes I stop and I'm like, wow, I never knew this many people so far away before.
Yes.
But it's
Yes.
because we're all 6 degrees apart, and now they say that with the internet we're 3 degrees apart. So
I believe that.
yeah.
I believe that.
So talk to
So,
me about your connection business.
okay. So my new business is called Amy Sent Me,
Oh,
right?
I love
And
that.
it came out of that moment where I got paid to do what I naturally do because I love to connect people. And I'm always recommending things, not just with my
Mm-hmm.
network marketing business, but for every single thing. And I realized because of all the personal growth that I was challenged to do to be successful in my network marketing business, that everybody's looking for something in terms of being healthier and happier in their lives. What are we here for? We're not here to just stay the same. We don't just arrive on earth and just sort of glide. Everybody is looking to take those next steps, and it looks different for everyone. But I decided that health and happiness were the things that I cared most about. So I made a connections business based on things that will help people be healthier and happier. And
Good.
so you could say it like this. I don't know if you have Angie's List up in Canada. Do you?
No. Well,
Okay.
maybe. Not
In
that
the
I know
United
of.
States, there's a really famous um, recommendations business. was called Angie's List. It was for home improvement. They call
Okay.
it Angie's now, but for many years it was Angie's List. And you could go there and you'd have people you could trust to do things like handyman work, or you were changing your kitchen out or whatever. So I think of Amy Sent Me as Angie's List for health and happiness. So it's more like home improvement than home improvement. You know, it's internal. It's everything from if you want a psychic medium, or if you want a sober coach, or if you want a book writing helper. If you want, I have a friend who does incredible boudoir photography. She can make people look like a zillion bucks. Okay. So I know a lot of people who do retreats and yoga and a lot of things that I am interested in. I naturally draw people to, and people are looking all the time for that. So Amy Sent Me is really curating the highest levels of growth-oriented offerings and
And
giving them to people.
yeah, you have such an amazing and huge network. So, it makes sense. So how does it work? Like we contact you and we need to be interviewed and then we go on your list to be recommended, or?
Yes, actually. So there are providers and then there are seekers. And I'm actually have a wonderful friend of mine right now building out the infrastructure for what's going to be a way to receive information about providers if you're a seeker. But for me, I'm not going to be recommending anybody just for the sake of it, because I'm not doing this business because I'm desperate to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Money is a byproduct, and money I make from this business, a lot of it's going to be put into charity work, right, that I want to do. So it's because I have other sources of income. I'm doing this for love and money, right? But it's not going to be that thing that makes you suspicious, like you see people on the internet hammering things, come to my, join my whatever it is, do my program, whatever. It's not going to be like that. It's more trust oriented. So I'm working with, on the provider side, coaches and healers and event creators, service providers, and I am interviewing them, as you say, because it's either going to be somebody that I've personally worked with, or somebody that who I know people who have personally worked with them, or I've seen so many recommendations and I've talked to the people who are recommending that person that I can feel comfortable putting my name on it.
I love it. Congratulations. Such a great idea.
Yeah.
That's mixing practical and pleasure, because I'm a bit like you on that. I love recommending stuff. When
Yeah.
I like something, everyone knows. When I
Yeah.
don't like something, usually I'm not too vocal because I'm like, okay, that's probably personal. But when I do like something, a restaurant or whatever, I'll always recommend them. So many people that at some point I feel like going in and saying like, hey, I think you owe me a meal.
Right. So this is not quite like that. And it's a lot of things that people don't know where necessarily to turn for. Right.
I have a good one, like a tarot reader.
Oh, great.
That's one that, every, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, I get this urge of like, oh my goodness, I wish I could see a good one.
Yes. Right.
But I always go out and seek, out people that I know who saw them, because that's not the type of person that you will just pick. I was going to say from the yellow pages.
Right. But from the internet yellow pages. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm that sort of guide to people who really are worth your time and investment. And I'm excited about that. So what I'm doing right now while we're building out the site is, if anybody is listening and they're curious as to how to get in touch with me on either side, just follow me on Instagram, because I'm at Happy Healthy with Amy. Happy Healthy with Amy. And then I have a link tree, and you can click on Amy Sent Me. Right. And soon we will have our whole back end up and running, like within the month. But I feel very strongly that people are looking and they don't know where to look for a lot of different things. Yeah. So I'm excited to be the one to be bringing this to people.
Well, I wish you all the best, and I know it's going to work out like super well. And
Thank you. And if
I
you have
know,
that fantastic tarot reader, let's talk after this and give me their information.
yes, no, I'm looking for one.
Oh,
The one
this
that
is
I know that
great.
is
So
fantastic, she's not doing it as, for the money or as a business. So she has availability, like, I don't know, once every 2 months, like here and there, if you end up catching her when it's a convenient time, but it's not, a business.
So
So
what's great is now you gave me this idea because I don't have a tarot reader yet. I have a couple of other people in the metaphysical world, but I'm going to now go out and find somebody. And part of the joy for me is I get to test them out, right? Or I get to
yeah,
ask my best friends, who do you use? Why do you love them? And
okay, well then refer to me after,
I will.
please.
I
So
will. I
Amy,
promise.
you are such a delight, and I mean,
Get back at you.
you're super busy and you keep adding stuff on your plate, but on the other end, it seems like you're not that busy and you take the time to enjoy your life and be happy. And I think that
Yes.
the key is really what you said. When you love what you're doing, it's not work. People can ask you like, how many hours a week do you work? And you're like, I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. Right. I really don't know. If it feels good, I'm doing it. And that's what's the most important thing. But I would never have gotten here if it hadn't been for network marketing. It really, that is the gift that keeps on giving to me. It allowed me to get to this place financially where I can rest and be not anxious. I was waking up crazy worried every morning. But when you're in survival mode, you cannot be in joy mode.
No, you can't be in abundance mode either.
You can't. So this really step by step by step brought me into a place where now there's so much to be joyful about. And I just, and so much that I'm interested in and want to keep doing for
That's
myself and for
awesome.
other people. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think it's a good lesson to, life is a journey and you need to go with everything that is happening one thing at a time. Sometimes you don't understand why something is happening. Like when you
Right.
got sick, you could have also stayed in that and turn into a spiraling, degenerating,
Yes.
whatever. Let's leave it there. But you chose to
Yes.
go the other side of it.
I, I have to say that I wish I could take credit for choosing to find something better out of it. But what happened was so spiritually powerful that it chose me. And thank goodness. Thank
And
goodness
you
I was
had to
open,
trust.
open. But it was like when I was sick all those years ago, it was like a huge knock on the head. Like it didn't care who I was before. It was just going to take me over. And, and what a blessing that was, So that's part of why I want to give back to people who are curious spiritually with Amy Sent Me. Um, Not everything is spirit oriented there, but a lot of it is. And a lot of people are looking and just don't know where to turn. And so I think that any of us who've been opened up this way, it's our uh, it's our job to help other people open up.
Yeah. You say it's our job, and I was going to say it's our desire. Because yes, I get what you're saying. Like it's like almost a responsibility. Once you know it exists, you have to share it.
Yes,
But
and the thing we all need to remember is not everybody wants it, and
yeah,
that's okay. It's just like network marketing. Not everybody wants it. It's okay. It's all okay. But
I,
if we didn't offer it, who would we be?
yeah, selfish.
Slackers.
Yes. Well, listen. So if we want to get your book, it's called
Oh,
No Degree Required.
yes,
Where
it's an Amazon bestseller. You can just go to Amy
There you
Power, No
go.
Degree Required. Boom.
And if
Yeah.
we
Oh,
want
it's
to get your
actually
other book, it
wait.
was also Amazon bestseller.
Yes. Yes. So you are so wonderful I was so honored to be a part of that book
Oh, thanks.
because it made me feel like there's a real community that you are um, putting together and getting to read everybody's very different stories was exciting for me. I got re-energized about what this business can be for so many different types of people. So I really want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. I will say too that there's another lady in the book who was semi-retired, just mostly coasting. And after writing her story, she got so fired up and she does not need to build anything anymore. Like she's set, but she's just like, I jumped in again and it just like reignited my passion. And
Great.
honestly, I think that is one of the big reasons why I do those books. Um, you know, when we're just about to publish, I'm always like, oh, I think this was the last one because it's it's a lot of work. And then we get to the gala and it launches, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting the next year's version because it's.
Well, I'm going to add one more thing on for you because I just recorded an audiobook version of my book that's launching in January. Maybe
we could go for an
could
audiobook.
have an audiobook version. Yes.
Okay, so we need to talk when we stop this podcast because clearly
Yes.
Amy sent me. I'll be one of your first customers. But Amy Powers, it was so nice to have you on this podcast.
Thank you
If people want to
so
reach
much.
you, it's Happy Healthy with Amy on Instagram. And
Yes, Happy Healthy with Amy. Or I'm going to do something really daring. Ready? I'm going to give my text number.
okay.
Ready? If anybody just feels the pull and they want to reach out to me for any reason, text me 323-646-4135.
That's gutsy.
646-4135, because I know that only the right people for the right reasons will come forward and reach out. If there's something you think we're supposed to do together, let me know.
Wow, that's very generous. Thank you so much. And if I would ask you to leave our listeners with really one last thing, what would it be?
Life is shorter than you think. Follow your spirit today and find out what you're really here for.
Very simple and profound. Thank you, Amy. And to everyone for being here. Thank you so much for following me and being here every week. I appreciate you, and clearly I have to go get a coffee or something. But I do appreciate you a lot. And if you have any comments or questions, please contact me at info@simplycaroline.com. And I will be happy to read your comments and I will answer your questions. So have a beautiful week. Amy Powers, thank you so much. I will put all of Amy's information with the podcast and follow her. It's very worth it.
Thank you. Bye, Caroline.